on the other live stream. So
Just know which one to turn off.
yeah.
It looks so good.
All right, I think we are live.
Wow, that's awesome. I'll be with you in 49 seconds.
We are live, and we're just waiting for some people to join in, and they might all be on the other one. Yeah, the other one is not going.
Babe, do you want to just hold that up for a second
Yeah.
so it doesn't touch the... Thank you. That's it. Thanks.
No problem. We are live. And we are on the air.
Perfect.
Hello, YouTube.
I can't get...
Hopefully,
We're not...
because that's the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just killed that one, and we have to go
Okay.
back to the other one. Hey, we got somebody. Wood Pigeon Outdoors. Hi, Wood Pigeon. Can you hear us? We're just at Logan's Life. Hopefully you guys are getting some audio, because I was just struggling through setting up the live stream, and somehow I ended up with two going. One of them was working, one of them was counting down for a video, and I had to kill the one with the countdown. I know some of you were in there waiting for it to start, and I apologize for that. But now we are live on the other one, and we are coming through loud and clear, which is excellent. I'm going to try and rearrange my dashboard here a little bit so I can see me and see you guys chatting also at the same time. See if this works. Yeah, that's better. Now I can see the chat beside the video.
Oh, you can see it.
Yep.
Perfect.
I just had to rearrange a widget. So we're here on day 35. We thought that we would do a little bit of chatting and eating. Delphine has whipped up a cake, which we're very excited about. And then maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes, we'll give some updates on our health, and we'll talk about where our food stores are at. And then from there, we'll try and answer as many of your questions as we can. So if you guys If you guys want to throw some questions up on the chat, we're happy to answer them. Oh yeah, no problem, Wood Pigeon. Thanks for doing a shout out for us. We're really happy about the amount of support we're getting. We've had actually quite a bit of local and national media coverage, or regional anyway, that's gone national. And people have been really interested in our adventure, our experiment, and we're really happy to share that with everybody. Yeah, hey, West New York LEFX. We made it, Nico. I had some trouble setting up. I had 2 live streams going by accident, so I got to learn a little bit more, but we got it going. Are you having any cravings?
I am not really having any cravings, but I made brownies for the kids and I've made them pancakes, and like it's just some of that habit stuff is really hard to get away from where I want to just have a little taste, but I didn't. And then once it passed, like it's just a second, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh. And then I make something good like this.
Yeah, we'll show that up close to the camera in a second. I haven't had cravings, but I've definitely had those like habitual urges, I would say. Like if my kids are eating something, I want to pick at it. If there's like a bowl of chips, I just want to eat chips. But mostly not, and I haven't really been feeling hungry except today. Twice my stomach was growling before mealtime, and I haven't really had that on other days. I've been like hungry but not like where my stomach's just working away.
Yeah, I actually had that for the first time today, this afternoon.
Yeah.
Are you?
Wood Pigeon, I'll have to keep my eyes peeled for that rabbit hunt video. And Wild Willie, yes, we were eating a lot of artificial type foods, which maybe didn't realize quite how many until I stopped buying them all.
I probably ate less, except when you were here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like me the potato chips.
Well, that's not true. I do enjoy my Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah. And candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. Okay, I'm gonna try and get this cake up to the camera. I'll see if I can hold this here and see my screen at the same time.
I'll try
Just so you guys can see what Delphine's put together here. It's like a cake with strawberries, blueberries, acorn flour. The glue that's holding it together is perch roe, sedge flour.
Sedge flour. There are some plantain seeds, some primrose seeds, maple sugar. Yeah.
All the good stuff. So we're gonna have a little
Taste.
snack while we're chatting. I could cook, Nico, but I wouldn't say that I was a great cook. Not with spices and flavors and things, but I used to be pretty good at whipping up desserts. So my thing was to do pies, and I could do coffee cakes, and I could do cheesecakes and things like that. But I really stopped doing that a few years ago. But I can roast a chicken, I can bake potatoes. Delphine's definitely the better flavor maker.
I was good at cooking before this challenge.
Yeah.
And I love watching shows about cooking and the science of cooking, and I like tasting food. I think that's one benefit that we've had.
This is really good.
It is really good. That we've had since the beginning is that both of us, while we enjoy condiments or making sauces, we actually enjoy the tastes of food, and I think that's been a real like kind of a head start where you're not depending on something to flavor what you're eating, because now we have so much less of that, right? So I think it was good. And yes, it does taste nutty. Someone's asking, Minos Grant asked, does it taste nutty? And it does have a warm nutty flavor.
Yeah. I think even being a good cook, going into this challenge, as there are definitely differences in the way that you would cook wild meat, maybe compared to store meat, and when you're trying to put stuff together, there are no straight substitutes necessarily. So if you think about how often you use eggs in your baking or your cooking, and we have not had eggs, but now that we have some perch roe, which is just fish eggs, we're able to, like, did you whip the eggs to get them
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
runny, and then now we have our egg substitute.
They actually, because they're just like little seeds,
Mm-hmm.
and start beating them, it doesn't really do much. And then after I've done it for about 5 minutes, they just fluff right up.
Okay.
And in the oven, they really came up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like with a souffle, though, because as soon as I opened the oven, like it was to the top of the dish, and then it just kind of dropped down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Someone asked if we're using salt and pepper, and we are using no condiments, no spices, except for ones that we've gathered on our own. So we have a little double handful, I would say, a double handful of salt
Yeah.
that I made when I was in the Caribbean last year. And that hopefully will get us through till this spring. I'll be in the Caribbean again. So a twist on the challenge is that I'm still going to try and eat foraged or semi-wild food while in the Caribbean. And I'm also hoping to make, maybe a few kilograms of salt
Yeah, that would
to
be great.
bring us through the rest of the year, at least to the end of this year's challenge. And, we'll still decide about what we want to do come January 1st, 2020.
Yeah. It's exciting. You might have answered this. What about caffeine? We are not drinking coffee. We both gave it up.
Yeah.
Had a serious migraine for 12 days. I did, which I knew I was going to because I've quit coffee a few times with pregnancy. But I'm fine now. I don't miss it. I love the smell of it still when I'm at work and someone brews a pot of coffee. Oh, it smells so good. But I don't feel like I need to have it. I love having the teas that we make. Actually, like, your body just feels clean, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just a nice feeling. Like, I feel
Yeah.
healthy and good.
I love drinking coffee, but I think it's really bad for me. Like, I sometimes drink too much coffee and then my kidneys get hot on my back, or
Really?
I feel like, not like I'm getting heart palpitations, but that my heart is beating too hard at its regular speed. Like, there's just things you think about. I'm like, oh, I haven't had that kind of feeling where I'm walking down the hall and I can feel my heart beating into my lungs. And I think that's, I don't know.
Also, you've lost a significant amount of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my sinuses have cleared up, and I think that might also be partly because of, maybe it's lower inflammation, or maybe I had a old food that I was sensitive to. So these are things that I'm just trying to figure out as we go through this new diet.
How about going to Nova Scotia to make salt? I actually have a sister out there, and I've asked her about it, and she hasn't answered me yet, but and that would be a trade situation. So I have some leather that we tanned, some porcupine quills, some birch bark. So she's going to decide what she would like to trade, and I will make it, and we will trade.
Yeah, for some salt.
How much weight do you expect to lose? Hopefully not too much more. I had gained quite a bit of weight, and I've lost it. So I have a couple of pounds to go before I'm at my normal weight.
Yeah.
And then I hope it's not any more than that. Yeah. So I've lost 18 and a half pounds.
Wow.
Which I gained over, because I did school. I
Yeah.
was in university and nursing. Anyone who is in university, you just sit and you come home and you sit and read and do homework. And I did 4 semesters back to back. And that was a lot of snacks and studying, and equaled 18 pounds.
When we started the challenge, we had our weight and our percent body fat and our metabolism measured. So when we started, I was at 23% body fat. So as far as weight goes, as a percentage, I don't want to go below 10. Seems like thin healthy, or 12. So I weighed myself today. I started at 194 pounds, and today I'm at 178.8 or 0.9. So I've lost about 15 pounds, and I don't think I want to lose too much more, or I'll, it's got to start cutting into muscle instead of fat at some point, and I'd like to maintain muscle that I have, or add to some while we're active through this year.
Someone said when they're in Florida, they tried wild Brazilian peppers. Like if we found wild peppers, that would be great. We're going to do a bit of traveling and we'll maybe find some other foods to add to our stores, but most of our stuff is local.
Yeah.
And peppers are not here, so.
No.
What foods have you missed so far?
Potato chips. Sausages.
I don't know. I'm loving the bear meat, and I'm glad that we have fish now.
Yeah.
And I just am really enjoying making meals with all of this food. So I don't know that I miss anything yet. But those brownies, I made a really yummy topping for them yesterday for the kids, and that would have been pretty tempting. It was pretty tempting to not just lick the bowl, but maybe add even more.
Ugly Pirate, it's berries and maple syrup and meat has got to be like my favorite food combination right now. It makes me very happy, and I've eaten it I don't know how many times in the last 35 days, and I'm not tired of it yet. And I think partly because my sinuses have been really poor, they're just starting to open up a bit, and I am just now noticing some of the more subtle flavors and things. So in early videos I was showing bear roast with goldenrod or juniper berries or the Labrador tea. I don't know that I could really taste any of those spices on the meat. I could taste like bear and bear grease, but I don't know that I was really appreciating those subtle flavors. And so I think it'll be interesting because maple syrup and berries are very, very strong flavors. They're easy for me to detect, but it could be that now as I'm getting more of my sense of smell back that I can appreciate those flavors better.
I've only had the maple syrup on meat with you. Otherwise, I don't. Once I did.
Oh, you're missing out then.
Well,
we put maple syrup
here
on
and
everything.
I don't think so.
Yeah. What are we chewing right now? So if you're late coming into the live chat, this is a cake. And we won't go through the list of ingredients again, but it is further back in the live stream if you rewatch it later. It's a all wild food cake.
How long did it take you to catch all those perch?
From about 1 o'clock till about 6 o'clock, but we're fishing with friends, so they caught some of them as well. I would say an afternoon.
Are you in ketosis or you have enough carbs right now? This is a really popular question, and the answer is no, we are not. Because like we're not having like carbs, like what refined sugars and flours and stuff, but we're eating berries a lot.
Yeah, and maple syrup every day.
Sugar and maple syrup.
And we're getting the Jerusalem artichokes almost every day, and we cook a green with just about every meal, but it's not always a lot of greens. So you might have seen that I might eat like 6 or 8 milkweed pods with a meal in a day. And even just at that level of carbs, maybe it's mostly the maple sugar, but we're out of ketosis. We're measuring with like over-the-counter urine strips, and we do have blood work coming up, and there'll be an actual medical ketone test. But
yeah, we've also used
the other ones,
real Chemstrip 10.
Yeah, and
but you would use that.
So and sometimes it measures like trace ketosis, but it's barely trace. Yeah, and we're not trying to be in ketosis.
No.
If we were, we wouldn't be eating this cake. That would make me sad.
I would make another one of these right now. Did the kids ask to try some bear too? Yes. My kids have tried it, and they liked it.
Sometimes 1 or 2 of my kids will ask for a taste of something, but they're never really that keen to eat a bunch of it.
I think they would eat this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The cake. They would eat the cake. Will we continue this change in lifestyle? So Logan's life, I have frequently had wild food in my diet for the last few years, but this is definitely like above and beyond. And I think that we both believe in a lifestyle that has lots of wild food in it. But maybe that it's not something that we can easily perpetuate just on wild food.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we collect through this year,
Mm-hmm.
and then see how far that would take us into next year.
Yeah.
But definitely by what we're feeling and how it is cooking with all this, I think it feels like a lifestyle change.
Yeah, well, just with
Like
my
not
sinuses
just this.
alone is like a huge change in my quality of life.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be stuffed up the way I was before. If you pick the milkweed pods, the best way to store them for the winter is to blanch them and freeze them, the same way you might with a green bean or a carrot or other garden vegetables. But you have to remember that blanching them does not remove the toxins. So when you thaw them to cook them again, you still have to boil them in 2 or 3 changes of water. After which time, they will taste a little bit like mushy green beans. Don't be lazy like I was and think that you can just steam them and eat them, because I got sick.
Wild Willie, you must cringe when you have to go to the grocery store. Actually, I don't. We buy a lot of whole foods for the kids, and they eat well, and I still enjoy going and grabbing fruits and veggies for them, and whatever. Like, we love pork and sometimes chicken and fish. So like all of those things are still a joy for me to do, because I know the kids love them and I like cooking for them.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, when I go shopping, like I don't often go, like I never know where anything outside of the outside stuff is, except for granola bars and cereal, baking
and the
supplies.
baking aisle.
And it's all in the same aisle. So
Yeah.
other than that, like I don't go in those aisles to begin with, so I don't miss it.
Yeah. I like grocery shopping because it's like food everywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't cringe going in like and having to resist things. I'm actually finding that really easy still. It actually is kind of joyful to go in and buy like half as much stuff as I normally would and come out of a grocery store having spent less than $100. Like, oh yeah, this is great. Yeah, that seems reasonable during a trapping season to drop that much if you're working hard in the cold.
Someone mentioned they lost from 23 to 9% body fat. So that's what...
I might be on that exact same trajectory. And then, so Wild Willie, when you dropped to 9%, like did you then stay at 9% for a period of time, and then after the trapping season you would kind of gain back up, or did you just happen to drop to 9% by the end of the trapping season and then gain weight again after that? I'd be interested to know. I'm interested to know if I stabilize at a certain level.
I'm just going to turn off my phone.
Because part of it too is like as you lose weight, your body burns less calories per day to maintain that extra weight. So my daily requirements might drop from like 3,000 to like 2,700 or 2,800. Yeah, that's a good question about going to work and packing a wild lunch. It's not bad because I'll usually just take leftovers and I can microwave them. But what's interesting is I have lots of people will come by. It's like a tourist attraction, so they want to know what I'm eating that day. And sometimes it's like, oh, the last time I had venison was 10 years ago, or I've never tried venison. It's like, oh, okay, do you want to try a bite? And then I have other people who are like, oh, gross, don't take that and don't use our microwave with that wild meat. But it otherwise isn't too bad.
And I usually just take some berries or something when I go for lunch, and tea, like a big thermos of tea and lots of water. I work nights, so I've eaten before I go to work, and
Yeah.
I don't enjoy eating at work, so.
There are
He gave you the drop and hold the 9 to 12. Did you read it?
Oh, okay, until you came home and then it was, all good salty snacks. I think you and I might be on the same track then.
I don't know the laws where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an all year round game animal you will hunt?
There are none
No.
that are year-round, generally speaking. So the ones that would be open year-round are things that are not regulated. So porcupines you could collect at any time of the year. Groundhogs you could collect at any time of the year, but they're not active in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
We have a really long snowshoe hare season, but it is closed for part of the year. And in part of the year you don't really want to shoot them because they're covered in ticks. And so we really have to plan from season to season to season. We have a 2-week deer hunting season for a rifle. And then there's a 1-week season about 4 hours away that I can also hunt. And then there's a 5-day season following that for muzzleloader and bow. So if you piece all those together, you can do about a month of deer hunting. And other than that, like pretty much all of our fishing and hunting regulations fall within seasons. The media interest.
What kind of media interest has there been? Oh, so much. A friend of mine from back home, where I'm from in Manitoulin Island, was chatting, and a friend of hers works for a local paper, and they were very interested. And that little article, shout out Manitoulin Expositor, gave a lot of traction, I think, to all of the other things that happened. So after that, we got a request from CBC Radio in Sudbury, which is Northern Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And following that, it was the Nugget, which is our local newspaper here in North Bay. And then a radio station here in North Bay.
Yep.
What are they called? CCAT and
Yep.
KISS Radio.
Yep.
What else happened? A research student from a university in New York State
Yep.
is doing a paper or research on foraging, urban foraging, something like that.
Yep.
Are we allowed to say? Oh, I don't
Not
know.
sure.
Sorry. Anyway, so we were interviewed for that. Jared did a great interview in French
For
on Radio Canada.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And a follow-up interview with the Manitoulin Expositor, checking in to see how things are going. That was a lot of fun. That was a good article, yeah.
They did a 1-month update.
And we've had requests to do speaking engagements at a couple of different places. It's been pretty busy, and I'm really overwhelmed and a little shocked that there is that amount of interest in it, but like totally thrilled about it. It's nice to share the story, and so many people have messaged. Everyone who's messaged, thank you for saying that we've inspired you to learn about wild foods and how to harvest it sustainably and how to put it into your diet at least a couple of meals a day or a week or a month. Like that's really amazing, and it feels good that people are inspired to do that.
Yeah.
Because it means really good things, right? Like people are going to be more invested in taking care of their wild areas, and maybe throwing off a letter to their whoever to help maintain those habitats.
Yeah, we also haven't done as many YouTube updates as I have been wanting to do, but I'm still trying to do weekly videos with some update material, and then to do a live stream every month. So we're mostly on track with that. But if you're interested, I'm going to post our Facebook Facebook page, and on that Facebook page we are posting daily pictures and descriptions of food that we cook, food that we eat, how we're feeling that day, whether we've been successful fishing or not, and some of those kinds of things. So if you want daily updates, here's the link in the chat.
Good. And I said that I've written it, but I said that all of the links for all of those articles that we mentioned, they're in the feed in that Facebook page. That's
that's
somewhere.
right.
So you could click on that and read or listen. Wood Pigeon. I work for Limit Fish Media. If you're willing for a quick blurb, message us.
All right. Sure. Yeah, message us and we would do an interview for sure.
Can you get wild potatoes, wheat, barley? Can you make bread or beer from wild ingredients you collect? Much thanks. Or
Yeah,
bread,
beer.
beer.
Bread or beer.
We looked a bit for some wild grasses. We don't really have them here.
Yeah, not stuff in abundance that
no.
we're familiar with, but the sedge seeds we can pick in abundance. And the acorns are our two main flowers that we like.
But we have a list of about 8 or maybe 10. I'd have to get my book, but different flowers that we want to try throughout the year, including from trees, from tubers, from seeds, and of course the acorns.
Yeah, and Malcolm, I think you might have been late joining, but we just ate some cake that Delphine baked, and that was with some of those wildflowers that we've made and whipped together with some perch eggs.
Roll. Yeah. Hello, Oklahoma. That's the other thing that's amazing is how many people from everywhere, Europe and South America and the Caribbean, the States, Canada.
Yeah, so our first live stream we did on a Tuesday morning, which meant that a lot of people who tuned in were tuning in from overseas when it was, a more reasonable time for them, and because other people were at work, although some people tuned in from work, I think. 5280
Adventures, sharing every episode on Twitter. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's really great.
I'm just going to check this soup here, babe. I hear it bubbling pretty low.
Just needs to turn down to about 2 maybe.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm making homemade bacon using hot dogs and a rolling pin. How are your stocks? Is it going according to plans? Or, for example, the maple syrup, do you still have enough left? Yes. So we're just sort of eyeballing some things. I think we may already have wished that we picked a few more. For example, even though I picked a ton of leek leaves, I maybe would have picked more. That patch is big enough to, I could take one off of every plant and I maybe would have had double what we have. And I definitely would have picked more of the daylily tubers. Because they're not wild, but they're unattended flowers that I've got access to.
Dug into.
And they're great. And I think we would definitely have picked more of the Jerusalem artichokes. Just because we're loving them so much.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I think things are good. The maple syrup, we do have enough to last until the next season.
Yeah.
And then we'll just have to work hard to make a lot more for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But also, maybe we won't use as much in the summer with all the fresh foods and sweet foods that'll be around. Lots of berries, all of those floral flavors and salads and things. I think maybe the usage will drop a bit.
Yeah, I wish that I had tried harder to get out and shoot some geese because I didn't get out goose hunting. And I wish that I'd put some fall and summer fish into the freezer to eat later on because I had a real poor streak for fishing. We didn't have any fish mostly for the first month, but we had a good run of fish the other day.
Your top recommendation for a wild edibles book? So we did talk about some books in our last live stream video, so there is some information there, but I think we decided that we would do a whole little thing where we recommend different websites, journals.
Video just on references and sources. Yeah.
So we could post a list, but you could also just watch for that. It maybe will be sooner rather than later.
And really, I do have quite a few books that I reference, but I think an easy one to access that's very current and relevant and covers a very broad area for North America are any of the 3 books by Samuel Thayer. The Forager's Harvest, Nature's Garden, Incredible Wild Edibles. I really like the way he writes, and he has really good quality photos and cooking instructions, storing instructions, and all that kind of stuff.
I'll post a pic on my Instagram of my bookshelf, and I'll do one of yours too.
Sure.
Okay.
That works.
Where do you draw the line on wild food? I assume you include non-native species
Yes.
That have naturalized, but what about cultivated plants, animals that escaped into the wild?
Yes.
So I just mentioned the daylily tubers. That's one. Apple trees.
Yeah.
Any feral apple trees, fruit trees that are around.
Yeah.
We did find a couple, but mostly things have been
Feral grapes. And our wild species of grape as well.
Yeah.
And there's some things that I picked out of my garden that were not garden vegetables. So lots of weeds.
Yeah.
I picked out of my garden and used them because they are wild, even though they happen to be growing in a garden. But
yeah, well, they grow all over your lawn.
Yeah. The Jerusalem artichokes, they don't really grow wild here. Like, they don't grow and propagate all over the place. But where we picked ours, I would call that a feral patch of artichokes. They were planted like 4 years ago in a back field, and then they've just continued to spread from there without anybody doing anything to help them out. I had a couple of statistics that I was going to share for month-over-month information. So one thing that I have tracked very closely for over a decade is my monthly spending. So I'm able to do a month-over-month comparison for my grocery bill. So keeping in mind that my grocery bill includes generally, in these numbers I included all my alcohol purchases, all my groceries, and then there'll also be things like toilet paper and toothbrushes. So January of 2018 it was $790, and January of this year it was $480. So there was a big change there. That's only 1 month. I do plan to keep track of this and post like year-to-date information because I'm very interested, but I think lots of people have asked me if my grocery bill has gone down, and so in this month relative to last year, this month it has. My fuel costs are close enough, I would say, for gas that they have not really changed significantly, because I thought maybe I would just spend more fuel dollars accessing food that I could just buy in a grocery store. And another one that might be significant is, according to my Fitbit, in January last year I burned 102,000 calories. In January of this year I burned about 86,000 calories. So that's a pretty significant drop.
Someone asked if we are big into homeopathic medicine. No.
No.
We are both healthy. I think we're both healthier now, and I think we do some herbal remedies. So I mean, even from some things that we've picked, there are benefits to having those things, but no, not into homeopathic medicine. Someone's asking, I know the maple syrup, but will you be trying birch syrup? I actually have a little wee bit in the fridge from, I guess it's 2 years ago. Maybe it's birch something else now.
Oh, yeah, I found some that I've had stashed away for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and so we will maybe do a little bit of birch syrup, but it's takes twice the quantity of sap to get the same amount of syrup, and it also is getting into when we're going to be picking other foods. So I think we'll make maybe enough to have a taste, but otherwise, and because we wanted to try and make some birch beer.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll have it to add into that. So we need to get a couple liters maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and that goes back to, I think, Malcolm's question about bread and beer.
Oh, yes.
Because we don't really have a lot of stuff to make alcoholic drinks, but I do have 2 gallons of chokecherry wine, and it's probably almost ready.
Yeah.
I just re-racked it the other day. It's probably ready to bottle soon.
The one that you made last year was very good. So it'll be interesting to see how this one turned out.
When I made it last year, though, I added sugar.
Yes.
And so this year the content will be much lower. I did taste test it when I was re-racking it, and it tasted like non-alcoholic wine. I think it was just very, very mild and not very boozy tasting.
Are there things you guys can pick at this time of year, or are you just waiting out winter? There aren't a great deal of things. There are some things on trees
Yeah,
that we could go and
we could
grab.
be harvesting bark for
And
bark flower. And,
bark, we pick a lot of the white pine and cedar for teas,
Mhm.
and occasionally you might find a couple of odd little mushrooms on trees.
Yeah, we'll probably pick
Um,
more cattail catkins.
Juniper berries can still be buried under too much snow.
Yeah, we have lots of snow
and
in our
lots of
area
catkins
right now.
You can still get the alder catkins and birch catkins.
Mhm.
But really, yeah, waiting out winter.
Yeah, it's fishing season.
I keep saying we're waiting till spring, so spring is for any forager when things start growing again.
Mhm.
And I've looked over my calendar for the past couple of years, and that will be anytime between the 24th of April and the 6th or 12th of May. So it's a ways away yet.
We didn't really plant any new wild plants for the upcoming spring and summer, I would say. Yeah, we both have kids.
Have you ever eaten camel?
No, but I would.
Yeah, actually, I almost did. There was a market when I lived in Toronto, and they sold it, and
Oh, really?
we almost bought it, but I didn't. Very close. Would you all accept gifts like deer jerky or canned venison? The short answer to that is always no.
No, yeah.
So we're really just trying to get through this year on our own steam. If you were listening from the beginning, we did talk about doing a trade for some sea salt with my sister who lives in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we are...
Yeah, we want to know that we can do it like on our own steam and within the regulations. So, part of it is if we're accepting gifts from people, and we love everybody's enthusiasm and their generosity, but then that just kind of works outside of our ground rules. So
2020.
yeah, send us all your food next year. 5280 Adventures, I'm not really hunting this winter except maybe to do a snowshoe hare hunt. That's all that's open, but we will film some fishing stuff for sure.
So speaking of wild grapes as well as wild berries, do you plan on making wine? Okay, we just talked.
Yeah, and a good question
I missed
about
a few of those, sorry.
if we would supplement with wild food that we did not catch ourselves, like wild caught salmon. You can get wild blueberries in the grocery store, fiddleheads, and then other ocean fish which come from wild stock. And that would be like our last resort, I would say.
Yeah, if all of our food was gone and we were still wanting to carry on, we would try to find wild source foods, but we have enough.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we'll have to modify our rules.
No. But it is an option.
And we'll be traveling to a couple of different places this year, and to get different foods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably just spend more time hunting and fishing than I would in other years as well. Like if we start to run out, that'll be the thing that we do in all of our spare time.
Do you run a trap line? Good odds at securing meat every couple of days. We do not.
No, I set some snares the other day and then I had to pull them because we got a big dump of snow. But I don't have time to run a trap line really. But that being said, I do want to go out with Adam Craig Outdoors if he's spring trapping for beavers. We've talked about maybe I could help him out on a line that he's working on and trade him for a couple of beaver carcasses.
How about pine nuts? We don't.
Yeah, we have white pine.
We picked. Yeah, we got like
white pine seeds.
The little seeds, and
we don't really have.
We haven't used them yet, and it's probably a half a cup.
Yeah.
In total,
or less.
No, it's about.
Yeah?
I haven't broken them all open yet, so it's probably about half a cup.
Oh, cool.
If you could plant any wild plants in the garden, which would you recommend? Cheers from Sudbury. Hi, Sudbury.
Yeah,
I lived there for a while. That's good. Wild plants. Yeah, you can plant wild plants in the garden. some things will just sort of take over though. Like you could easily dig up and transplant nettle,
Yeah.
which is a great tasting green. Get some gloves. And the stinging nettle, milkweed would be another good one. You
Yeah.
get the shoots of flowers, the pods.
Yeah. I think the thing with wild foods is that they all have a niche in an environment, and that's why you don't find them all in one spot. Where garden variety stuff we've selected to thrive under gardening conditions, so you can grow it all in the same patch. But
there are some people who, if you look them up, I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but there are people who are planting wild gardens.
Forest gardening
and doing forest gardening, so not a super resource on that, but could find out some information.
Would mustard garlic make a substitute for kale chips?
Yeah, so some of the mustard plants and some other greens, even the nettle, they can be baked up with other spices, and that's if you like kale chips.
You don't like them?
They're all right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have them all the time, I don't think. I enjoy.
Yeah, Logan, I'll be doing a fishing video with the Wooded Beardsman at some point this winter. Or I might actually go down south and check out his cabin build and try and get some food down there if I can squeeze it in. We've been super busy this month and probably will be all year. But we need to fit in those adventures as well. Hey, Wes S. How's it going?
I just guessed pine nuts would be plentiful.
I will do a Sasquatch hunting video this winter, maybe.
Well, we saw one. I'm kidding.
I know where there is one. So
Well, that is true.
Stay tuned.
If you decide to visit West Pennsylvania, oh, that's great.
Yeah, PA's not that far.
No.
Across the border and one state away, or
Thanks, Jordan.
yeah. This after we're retired
Can
and
you
free,
tell us-
we'll just travel. We'll be traveling foragers.
Yes, let's do that. I would love it. You guys are inspiring. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourselves? Perhaps how you met. How many kids do you have? We did talk about that a little bit in the last video also. We met.
In a blueberry patch, and we have too many kids.
That's right. That's the story. Yep. Yeah, I have 4 sons.
I have 1 son and 2 daughters.
And all of our children range between 7 and 15. And they love helping us out. We take them out a lot. You know, when it's not too buggy. Although they're real troopers. They're pretty stubborn, like we are, which is fun.
Yeah.
And adventurous. They kind of complain, but once they're out there, they love it. They've learned to identify some mushrooms. They help us pick berries. They're always full of great questions. They've helped, or watched, not helped, but when you've butchered the deer and also just gutted the bear, and they're very keen little minds. Yeah, it's great. I'm a nurse. You're a professor.
Yep.
And that's that.
Yeah. And we eat a lot of wild
And
food.
we eat a lot of wild food.
You should not feed bears, Google. Well, unless you're baiting them. Carrots and apples would both be pretty good bait. Fresh roadkill. I love roadkill. That is an animal, an opportunistic meal that I did not have to spend a lot of time chasing down. And if you scroll through my channel, you'll see that I've recovered a few roadkill animals in the past couple of years. A bear cub, and at least 2 deer. A couple of porcupines that might not be on video. A couple of grouse that are on video. And so I'm very careful about using roadkill meat, but it's legal to collect and use roadkill in Ontario. You are supposed to fill out a permit, which you can do online with an account with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. And for the many American viewers, some people think it's illegal to collect roadkill, but it's actually legal in something like 18 or 26 states. So check your state regulations.
Jeremy will eat anything. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Taught me that Portulaca oleracea is edible. I don't know what I taught you. Menos grande 1112. I'll have to look that up. Maybe it's that Sasquatch. Yeah, Sasquatch hunters. Santiago Garcia.
Personally.
Oh, purslane. So you were watching my purslane collection. Purslane's good, and it's slightly lemony.
And there is some good information on what's in it, and it's a very healthy food.
You can get actual bred varieties for garden planting. The ones that grow wild here are just wild, stringy little purslanes, but you can get some that are bred for bigger size, I guess.
With so many kids, you still find the time to live this wild here.
Yeah, and actually what's nice about the kids is they're at an age now where if they don't want to do what we're doing, you can still sneak away for a couple hours and do what you want to do.
But they very often are with us. Found a ton of folates and honey mushrooms. What sort of environment do you recommend to try to find black trumpets? Just leave them for us.
Yeah, yeah, bike paddle. So I have two environments where we pick black trumpets, and one it would be under red oak trees, and the other one would be under white pine trees. And mature white pines, where there's a lot of needles on the ground, but you get like breaks in the canopy where there's some light and some different vegetation, and they're there.
That's where we usually find them if there's a trail already.
Yeah,
right?
on a trail edge often too, where the soil's a bit compacted.
And then the other one is the opposite.
Yeah, in the oaks you don't find them on the trail, but you would find them just growing under the oaks off the trail. Those are our two best habitats for that. Wes asks, you just need a scientific collection permit. You just write to get a permit. Say you're a deerologist and a pig ecologist, and that you need to pick up those animals to test them for their fat content. And then you can get a license to pick up roadkill.
Joining a little late. I hope I'm not overstepping. But have you noticed any changes to your digestion?
Yeah, that question did not come up yet.
No, but we did. It did in our little interview, and yes, there have been changes. Way less bloating, which means way less farting, and everything else seems normal. Like normal bowel movements, good healthy bowel movements, but definitely. Even when we eat the sunchokes, like
everybody says they're really farty, and they must eat them raw. Because any way we've cooked them, I have not gotten gassy.
I have to say, the first time when I did them on the shepherd's pie, I did notice a little bit at work that night because I went into work after. But having said that, night is a time when people are a little bit windier. So it's ask anyone who's doing the night shift. They'll tell you get to about between 3 and 5, and it's like fart o'clock. But even at the end of the night, when you're generally bloated on a regular day, like we don't have any of that. It's just that's been a real significant change that I've noticed. Do you feel stronger or have more energy?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because someone asked earlier and we missed it further up.
Okay.
Sorry. And I would say yes for energy and probably not really for stronger right now. But I feel like I haven't hit my stride yet.
I would say yes to both.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like it's the energy that makes you.
We were already both above average in strength.
for grip strength and leg strength.
Yeah. Yeah, we did some testing.
But I find that both of those have increased. I notice it because I work so many night shifts, and so I really like moving clients and doing all of that stuff seems a little bit easier.
Yeah, I haven't been in the gym in a few months, so I'm gonna try and get in, and then I'll have a better sense for if I'm able to do what I used to be able to do, and we'll see.
4 o'clock, time to evacuate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Purslane. I'm from Central Europe, so I don't remember what it's called in English.
Yeah, that's the person who mentioned it by the scientific name. I thought maybe because we were talking about Sasquatches that was the scientific name for a Sasquatch. Funny. And
here's a good one. Have you noticed any reduction to overall inflammation, joint pain, and what about the condition of your skin as a general indicator of health?
Yeah.
Yes. So all of those things are a yes. Joint pain. And also, I think because we dropped a lot of weight, in your lower joints, you would notice that regardless of how you lost the weight. But I think that it's been even better because of the diet. Skin condition has improved.
Yeah, very noticeably, skin condition.
Mm-hmm. And the first week and a bit, we both noticed that our mouths were a little bit pastier initially.
Yeah.
But that passed, and now, like, I very rarely ever have that kind of coated
like it's
feeling,
grease coated or something, or
coated feeling that you sometimes get after, like, I do notice it after heavy carb meals, like before you wake up and you're just like, but and skin is a definite change, especially right now because it's so dry and it's so cold outside. Like, I think everybody's been having that cold snap, but you get that dry scalp and like that stuff's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly. Yeah, and I had, like, before Christmas, I had for a while, getting up in the morning, and I found my ankles really sore, but I haven't had that since, eating different food.
Mm-hmm. Here's another sort of redo of a question. Do you still buy normal hygiene products, or do you use charcoal or make your own soaps? Our hygiene habits have stayed the same. And having said that, I do try to make sure that we use products that aren't like all plastic and all waste. I have a friend in town, Simply Suds, makes soaps, and try to buy soaps from her when I can. And we use stuff that doesn't have phosphates and whatever else, all of those other things that are in, right? But our hygiene has stayed the same. Same shampoos, same toothpaste.
Same toothpaste.
Actually, there's not a whole lot that I guess I fuss around with some things more than you do, but same products.
Yeah. Menudo, tripe soup, so I'm not sure about that, but I have cooked with pork intestine before. I did like chickpeas and pork intestine. That was good. I haven't eaten intestine or tripe from wild animals yet this year.
You just had a fish tummy.
Other years, but we caught a pile of perch the other day, and we kept a bunch of the perch stomachs, which are pretty tasty, and perch livers. So we do eat a fair bit of, and we have the hearts and livers from all the deer and bear that we harvested this year as well. So we'll be working those into some meals.
I've had tripe once before, but not soup.
No. The dish I had it in was a dryer. Like the chickpeas were like roasted in a skillet, and then the tripe was cooked in there with the intestine pieces. I really liked it.
What motivated you guys to challenge yourselves with this really cool adventure?
Insanity.
With a little bit of zest for life.
Yeah.
No, it was just a challenge. It came up as a question. You know, someone posed a question, thinking that it couldn't be done. Can it be done?
Yeah.
And we both really, like, straight away when we had that conversation, like, yeah, of course it can be done. So let's do it.
Yeah.
And so then we just planned it for when I was pretty much done university, and I would have a little more time. And so that's this year. And so also it took some time to get all of our food stores collected. And I think we both, as time went on, collecting foods and thinking about what might happen because of it. Like, there are some pretty big implications, and get people thinking, and yeah, like increasing health, overall health for different populations, helping with food security, like you've mentioned before. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of benefit to doing it.
Yeah, and the longer we're at it, the more implications we see with communities and traditions and food sovereignty and land conservation and access, and just
like
is snowballing a bit.
A whole host of things. What is the one non-wild food that you are each craving right now?
Potato chips.
Yeah,
I mentioned it earlier, I think.
Yeah, I'm not craving anything yet.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be chocolate at some point.
I've been thinking about coconut cream pie a fair bit.
Never even crossed
just
my
this
mind.
week. Yeah, well, hopefully you don't dwell on it now that I've mentioned it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I don't know why, but and you know what? Actually, I take my dad grocery shopping just about every weekend, and part of our grocery shop is we buy date cookies, like a bear paw. It's like an oatmeal cookie folded around dates, and we get a coffee, and I really kind of miss that little bit of a routine, because now he eats the cookies by himself and he just gets the one coffee, and
so he's enjoying it a lot more,
and he sometimes forgets from week to week why I won't eat the cookies or drink the coffee, and so I kind of wish that I still had that little habit sometimes.
Yes, and in fact, some people have asked us about the social aspect of what we're doing, and that you don't meet up with a friend and have coffee or go out for dinner or go out for drinks. And to be fair, we didn't do a lot of that before.
Yeah,
we get together, and it's not really, like, we share a meal with our friends, but it's kind of like everyone gets together and has a family meal.
Yeah.
We're not really just getting together for a few beers and stuff, right? Like,
except when we
you
would
and
watch,
I.
or when we would watch it.
Oh my gosh!
Then we would just eat like the fattiest, saltiest junk food and drink beers and wine.
It was so much fun, and actually, she talked to me about it after, that she missed it when the last season ended. So we had a couple that we would go and visit with, and because these people on TV are starving, we thought it was good for us to eat for them. And so we would take a boatload of snacks over, sweet, salty, savory, all of it.
Yeah.
And that was
pretty fun. Triple Tap 45 is asking about my extraction process for the 4570 insert in the shotgun.
Your demo's still working?
Well, yeah, but I think what I showed on video was using a branch to knock it loose.
Oh.
And so what I did is I bought 2 sizes of dowel. So the smaller dowel I can use to tap out the spent cartridge, and the bigger diameter dowel I can use to tap out the whole actual insert, either just by putting it in and pushing against a tree, or tapping it with an axe. Gets the insert out far enough that then you can pull it out by hand.
Someone said we're hardcore. Someone would go for a month or a week, not for a year. But I think after this, there will be people who will go for a year.
Maybe. We're not hardcore yet.
No, we're only 35 days in.
Yeah, we're 35 days in. So.
But we're confident.
Yes. Yeah. You can call us hardcore when we get to a year. I guess we're hardcore for setting that as our.
And setting it up, like we really did a lot to prepare for starting on January 1st in the midst of a really cold, snowy winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't shoot a lot of 4570. I still have the first box that I bought, and we shot half of that box for practice. And then I shot the bear, and then I missed a deer. What am I up to? 12 bullets. I got 8 left. I should be good for 4 more years of hunting.
Oh, that's good. You guys look thinner. How much weight have you lost? I lost 18.5 pounds.
And I lost 15. Improved our relationship.
Where are you reading that?
Could you speak a little on how sharing a common goal and making more deliberate dietary choices together has improved your relationship?
Our relationship was awesome. Is it better, babe?
It's pretty good.
I
Still
can tell
awesome.
you this.
Do I have to censor it?
No.
Okay.
Yes. No, that I love hearing about how much you love my food.
Oh.
Even more than like regular food before.
Yeah.
Like I know you're really happy with how I'm putting together some of our meals.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy doing that for you.
Yeah.
And for me.
And you're-
for us.
I think it's part of that is the margin between like me cooking a steak and you cooking a steak
Mm-hmm.
is slimmer than like me cooking a bunch of fish and you cooking a bunch of spiced fish with side dishes.
Yes.
And so that's part of it.
Yeah.
I appreciated your cooking before too though. But,
I know you did.
but we try to eat more meals together now probably even than before. I don't know.
I think we.
But it also is the thing that we talk about. So where before, I don't know, we would talk about something that wasn't food and then we would cook food and eat it.
Yes.
But it's not like we spent all day talking about the food, prepping the food, getting the food out of the freezer and thawing it and planning those
and
meals.
I have to say, like all of the lead up to this too, like for the last couple of years, we're a couple of nerds and we just love getting our heads together, cozied up, and talking about articles we've read, inspiration that I've seen on Instagram or an article I've read or how I saw a recipe that I want to modify to include wild foods, and I don't know. We're good.
Yep. In the beginning of the year, forget what you were supposed to eat wild food at any point. Did you almost, in the beginning of the big wild year, did you almost forget that you were supposed to eat wild food at any point? No, but funnily enough, I see what you mean. I had dreams that I would eat something by accident. So in one dream I ate a butter tart by accident, and then I just was like face palming, like how did I just do that? I'm not supposed to eat that junk. And in real life, I have not. And although I did one day, I drank 1 bottle of municipal water, but we've been drinking just my Dug Well water, which is spring fed. So we've been really, really strict.
Yes, very strict. We don't taste the kids' food when we're making it.
Yeah.
Whether it's like whatever it is, there's.
I don't even smell their
cheese.
food when I'm cooking it. I put on a nose plug.
Come on. Don't even joke. You have one built in.
Yeah.
How close do you think your current diet is to the historical diet of indigenous tribes of your area, indigenous peoples? I think it's probably quite close to pre-colonial because
except that a bunch of the food that we're collecting is naturalized and wouldn't have actually been here at that point.
True enough.
But calorie balance wise depends on how far back you go.
Yes.
Because for the last 2,000 years, there was a lot of agriculture, and we're not doing agriculture.
No.
So there would have been a lot of corn, beans, squash,
and
sunflowers.
so much trading, and so it's a way
Yeah, so
way back.
we're more like way back, but with modern tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is the best fish catch? The one we had yesterday.
Yeah, that was good. Because we'd had such a drought of fish. Like I went out 5 times. I caught 2 measly perch.
And it's been minus 40.
The weather's been disgusting here. There's so much snow you almost can't even go snowshoeing because it's too much work. And too cold to go fishing.
cheering you guys on. Yeah, it's a great run so far for sure. Was it hard to get used to drinking wild teas? No. All my
No.
life, we had a great little health food store back home that everyone loved, the Island Pantry, and my folks were always drinking floral teas and making teas, so, or like coffee substitutes and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's not, and they're delicious. We make mint, chamomile, rose, the chaga, white pine, cedar, elder berries. They're like in every one tastes of cranberries, like so many different varieties.
Yeah.
You can't get tired of it.
Yeah, I like it, but I also feel really obligated to drink a lot of tea, for vitamins and for vitamin C.
Well, yeah, I think, and that was something that we considered going into the year, talking about micronutrients and where you're going to get things from, because you can't just keep having a chunk of meat and the same green. So where our variety of vegetables was lacking, then we made up for it in all of those other ingredients, right? So yeah, it's getting much in here.
Yeah.
Come on, kiss her already.
It's funny. I missed that, but I was looking at Triple Tap talking about Wes's shooting skills in Chris's video.
Are your kids eating wild too? They are not.
No.
Yes, we prepare our meals after the kids usually, because there's only so much stovetop and there are only so many pots and pans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I noticed time flies when you're having fun. We're an hour in.
Okay.
So I think we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. An hour and 14 minutes in.
After the lovely icon.
Aww.
Yeah, we do.
Cool. Yeah, and Wood Pigeon, if you want to shoot us a message on Facebook or on Instagram, if you want to do a media article, we're happy to chat. We're gonna wrap this up soon, and then it'll be posted. If you want to rewatch it or share it around, it'll be posted to the channel tomorrow, I think.
Oh, someone's.
Woodland Caribou.
Catfish. Oh no. Okay, that one after.
Oh yeah. Okay, we're getting too many questions to quit now. So Woodland Caribou Provincial Park, Ian Hames. My advice to you is to reach out to, if you're working through Harlan Schwartz, is to reach out to him early and get some good intel from him. To listen to everything he says, because he knows the park really well and he gives you really good advice. When we were there, the bugs were not bad, but if you're not used to northern bugs, make sure you bring a bug jacket. And bring a spare fishing rod, because if you're interested in fishing but you break a rod, it'll really ruin your trip. So we brought spare fishing rods and we were really happy that we did. Also, because if you're trip fishing for a trout,
with Harlan, so that's good.
Awesome. Yeah, Harlan's gonna take care of you. Just soak up his advice. We talk a little bit about what worked and didn't work for us in our videos. I would say it's not necessary to dress as a voyageur for the whole trip, but it was pretty comfy. Yeah, if you had specific questions, like maybe you could find me on Facebook and send me a message. Just remind me who you are, and I can answer any specific questions you have. I teach in an environmental program at a college. I teach biology courses, ecology courses, and things like that.
Are there any consumer products which have diminished in value beyond your expectations since the beginning? I'm not sure. You might have to reframe that question. Do you?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you mean, Frosty. Yeah, thanks for... I see people are starting to log out. We are going to wrap it up in a second.
Thanks, everybody.
And we really appreciate everybody's great questions. consumer products which have diminished in value beyond your expectations. Things that we don't miss.
Oh. Like,
I don't know, like things that it, like coffee. I love drinking coffee, but right now I could care less if I had a coffee.
this is true.
And it doesn't really tempt me, but I sometimes have got that habit when I'm going by a coffee shop and I would normally pull in and grab one, but then it doesn't take any force of will to keep driving through.
No. And there are times, so this happened after Christmas. The kids got some cookies in their Christmas stocking.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you said, what's wrong with your kids? Because the cookies kept staying there and staying there and
Yeah,
staying
they're
there.
on the coffee table for like a month.
Pretty close. And so in the past, right, like you just walk by and think, well, the kids aren't eating them. Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
But you just, like, that, those things have all really, those things are not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
And also because we're really concentrating, or I am, well, you are too, like on just how and what to do with the food that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so that occupies a lot of brain space and time. And, you know, like there's a lot of imagination and get excited about things to be pulled into some of those old foods and stuff.
I think it ticks me off. I always wonder, like, I don't even know why I feed my kids, because they don't eat half of what I cook. And you know,
yeah,
and then I'm like, oh, I gotta throw leftovers out. I feel bad about that.
It's taken some adjustment to cook a little less at a time, but also or cook just this right amount that I can pack them leftovers in their lunch and whatnot. So, but those things are all going really well.
Who sells foraged foods? So I just posted a link. In Ontario, there's a guy who sells to restaurants and collects from foragers.
And post the link for Chris and Muskoka Wild Foods.
Yeah.
Muskoka Wild Foods.
Muskoka Wild Botanicals.
Botanicals. Well, let me just double check for a second. You might be right. Sorry. Wild Muskoka Botanicals. And you keep forgetting to put them up on that. Mental clarity. Yes. Initially, you said you were a bit foggy.
Yeah, I was in a brain fog for the first week, I would say.
Well, and I was kind of well, I was just in pain. I had a migraine for 12 days.
Yeah.
So that was I mean, I still worked and did all my stuff.
Yeah. Just
with a little less enjoyment. But yeah. We feel good. There is energy, and that includes then, right, how clear you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will write a book and a recipe book.
Yes, these things are being done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started making some inks a couple years ago, but now I've got more ingredients and things on the go, and we'll start filling up that book.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about. Natural salt.
Yeah, we don't.
Night.
Not in our area, Wes. There are no salt licks. We would have to travel to the ocean, and we're pretty far inland.
Steal it from the wild deer.
Yeah, we could go into somebody's cattle pasture and with an axe and take a chunk off of a block, I guess. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. It's past our bedtime, and we will be back on here live in a month, and I'll be posting weekly videos through the next bunch of time.
Yeah. Good night.
Cool. Good night.
Thank you.